Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kane. I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. This is the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also like to say thank you to my moderators for holding down the comment section, as you do an awesome job. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, we are going to be talking about Trump saying that they were born to be criminals. When talking about the crime in Chicago. Now, I'll show you a video and give you a little backstory as to why he was saying, that and everything. But in the meantime, Donovan, how are you doing today?
Oh, it's been a very long day for me. Started with a power outage. We had high winds coming from Arizona out in the desert. If you guys go to my Facebook page, you can actually see how hard the wind was blowing at the Air Museum and the air base where I live next to. But do us a favor. We've got a scrolling banner at the bottom. If you guys want to donate to the show, there's ways you can do it. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, money order, cash, money, however you guys want to do it. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store, or you can go right here on YouTube and go to the page and sign up right there. Annual subscriptions are always the best way to go, that we have to worry about your credit card, whatever, being charged. But the best one of all times is a lifetime membership, because as you know, prices keep going up and up and up. A lot of stuff going on in the African diaspora, and this thing about Chicago, this is the story Demetra dug up. I haven't really followed it, so you guys are going to get my honest opinion about this. And I'm glad we're having these conversations, because the funny thing is, Demetra, a lot of people are starting to use common sense and move to the center. A lot of people are starting to move to the center, saying, yeah, why aren't Americans being put first? Why aren't, things like that? Recently, the HUD secretary, he's kicking the illegals out. Oh my God, the illegals are being kicked out. It's not right. It's not right. Some American people have been waiting on a housing list for over 2-3 years. What is wrong with Americans first? What is wrong with that? But let's get into this situation here. And again, if you like Trump or you hate him, some things he does is great. Some things he does very terrible. So let's get into it.
Yes, indeed. And hello to everybody again. If you really want me to read your comment, please wait until I'm done, because I cannot scroll all the way to the top. Obviously, it'll take me a long time to do that. So, but off the top, hello to everybody. I've seen you on here. All right. So anyway, as I was working at my desk today, I happened upon Trump's press conference. I guess that's what it was. And it lasted over 2 hours. Now, originally, he had been, quote unquote, missing in action for almost a week to this point, right? Last Wednesday was the last time people said they saw him out and about, whether it was a press conference or whatever the case is. Yesterday, I think we kind of saw him here and there. But again, the speculation was that Trump may not be with us anymore, right? That maybe he's gone up to glory and went down yonder. But nevertheless, he is still with us. And he was basically giving a press conference in regards to U.S. Space Command headquarters moving from Colorado to Huntsville, Alabama, right? And so he says that this will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs, billions of dollars investments. Most importantly, this decision will help America defend and dominate higher frontier, right? So they're supposed to be going up to space and all this other stuff, right? So that was the premise of the press conference. But during the press conference, the press will ask him different questions. And so, of course, one of the things that they asked him about was Chicago, right? When are you going to Chicago? So he didn't say when, but he says we're definitely going, right? And he was basically saying we hope that they will just let us come in, because as you guys may or may not know, over this last Labor Day weekend, which was a 4-day weekend, I guess, there was over 50 people shot. 8 people were, unalived there in Chicago. A lot of gunfire, if you will. And so with that, you have the governor, J.B. Pritzker, and Mayor Brandon Johnson saying, we don't want Trump coming in here. Now, Mayor Brandon Johnson is more or less like, we don't want ICE and all that coming here. Leave our illegal, immigrants alone is pretty much what he's saying. But Trump is like, yeah, we're going in there for that. And we're also going in there because the crime is high. Notably, it's high everywhere, right? Specifically in a lot of red states. My daughter just showed me a video in Kansas City somewhere where a group of white teens were fighting, and it was about 60 shots went off. 2 people were killed, and a couple other people were shot. They weren't killed, but all white kids, right, in Kansas City. Nevertheless, I'm going to show y'all this video of Trump and what he said about people born to be criminals. Here we go.
Chicago is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. You know, we took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people.
Okay. So you heard it there yourself. That was President Donald Trump basically saying that the people who are committing these crimes, whether it's in D.C., which he says that they solved the crime problem, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But specifically, the question was in regards to Chicago, and he basically said that they're born to be criminals. They're mean, evil, and they will, you know, and not even think about it, right? So I found that especially to be very interesting. So, of course, I pondered, can people be born to be criminals, right? Now, I think I kind of get where he was going. I don't think he knows, but I think he kind of understand. So basically, of course, there are a few things as to why crime is high in the inner cities. That's where he is talking about poverty, lack of economic opportunity, underfunded schools and limited education, over-policing and under-protecting, broken infrastructure and neglect, influence of gangs and street culture, historical racism and redlining. Now, are people born to be criminals? As I said, I did a little digging. Says no, there's no scientific evidence that people are born to be criminals. However, certain biological and environmental and psychological factors can increase the likelihood of someone engaging in crime, but none of these are destiny. Here's what we know. Now, some people are born with traits like impulsivity, aggression, that when mixed with bad environments might lead to crime. Mental illness, trauma, or brain injuries can also play a role, but they do not cause crime alone. A child growing up surrounded by violence, addiction, or neglect is at a higher risk of criminal behavior, but with support, they can still thrive. Conversely, someone born with aggressive tendencies but raised in a stable, loving home with guidance and resources often does just fine. Now, it says people have free will and can make decisions. Many grow up in a hard environment, still choose to stay out of trouble or change their lives. So people are not born to be criminals, but they can be born into conditions, right? So he's saying that they're never going to change. Basically, I guess what he's saying is lock them up, throw away the key, or wherever the case is. But as I was thinking about that, and I knew the answer, you know, basically born, not so much unless you're Michael Myers or somebody like that. I don't know. But there are conditions. And so for me to hear him say that is like, okay, do you really want to say that people are born to be criminals, or do you want to address it all, like all the things that I said, right? With all of the things that it could do, sending in the National Guards, I guess, is a last resort. Some people want them there, whatever the case is. But for their Republican or Democrat, if you were to fix some of the ills in those said neighborhoods, a lot of that stuff will go away. Now, I also want to bring in personal responsibility. There's a thing called personal responsibility. And I think it should be said that a lot of people know that who they're raising, right? Or who they're not raising. So I think that's kind of where I'm going. I won't say too much. I'll give it to Donovan, and then I'm going to get into the comment section. So again, if you want me to read your comments, please wait until I get to the bottom. So Donovan.
Had to stretch it out because I'm about to get into it. All right. All right, you guys. Good to see you guys back. This is
just a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's just you. But anyway, good to see you guys back. But here's the thing. I'm glad we're bringing this up. I've never heard this thing. I didn't see it today. It just so happens I have a degree in social and behavioral science out of the many degrees I have, right? Now, nobody is born into anything. It isn't inherently that you're going to, a behavior is not something you're born into. If you are a person who's raised in an environment where it is criminality, it's rundown and things of that nature, you adapt to the environment. As mammals, we adapt to the environment that we happen to be in. So if you're in, like I'm from California, I live in the desert. I don't like the cold, but I could go get stationed up in Alaska for 4 years and adapt. You adapt to your environment. Nobody's born a criminal. Nobody's born gay. Nobody, all that is BS. Gay is a choice, and there's no scientific proof you are born gay. It is something that you are choosing to do. Now, if we're talking about physical hermaphrodites and things like that, that's different. But again,
you can't say that term on here.
What, a hermaphrodite?
You can't say that.
Okay, well, I take that back.
I know that used to be the term, but it's intersex.
Again,
intersex.
Intersex. Okay, so if you're in a combat environment, and it's been proven, the kids over in the Middle East that are subjected to combative PTSD conditions, they did a study in the 1990s where they took Black children and they did the same exact study that they did to the kids in the Middle East. Black kids are subjected to PTSD based on the environment that they're in. They're in a combative environment, and thus they are affected by what surrounds them and what they're indoctrinated to. Right? It's like your religion. If you're born a Baptist, have you ever asked yourself, why are you a Baptist? You're a Baptist because your parents indoctrinated you to do that. So the first thing I want to say is we are so easily baited into our emotions as Black people. Our hatred for Donald Trump and what he said, I get it. It might be offensive, like I just got the word intersexed, right? However you guys want to say it. But I'm not going to get emotional about that, right? There's a time and a place to do all of that stuff, but we get emotional. And when you get emotional and you let your emotions take over first, you don't listen to anything a person's saying because you're into your feelings. Is what Donald Trump's saying, if you got the gist of what he's saying, even though he's not a very articulate man, you understood what he's basically saying. These people are in an environment to where they can only, not that they can only function there, but that's the function that they function in that type of environment. Some people could make it out of that, but the majority of the people don't make it out of that. I have relatives that have never even left Los Angeles. They would call me and say, what's it like to be around white people? And you're like, what? Come out here and see it, and that's what they're kind of stuck in. So I'm just going to say this: don't let your emotions go with what the man is saying. Is what he's saying correct? No, nobody is born to be criminal. And this, it's like saying you are born into wealth, but it's like saying somebody's born to be orange. No, he wasn't born to be orange. He made himself orange, and so on and so forth. So that's a falsie. But let's hear what you guys got to say, because a lot of you guys have just been Donald Trump this, he's a criminal, that, whatever. Nobody's born a criminal. Nobody's born a criminal. Your circumstances make you a criminal. Your environment, whatever your situation is. How many? What? So wait. So we're saying strippers are born strippers, hoes are born hoes, pimps are born pimps, punks are born punks. No, that's not true. Your circumstances make that happen, right? So let's see what you guys got to say.
Yes, you guys are going in the comments. And yes, I think we should also concede that, yeah, Trump is a criminal. He is a criminal, okay? So, I mean, he just is. But born to be criminals is basically saying that he's throwing away the key on those people, especially the people that they've arrested. I guess they don't ever deserve to be out. They'll never change, like you said. They'll basically take your life and think nothing of it, you know. But I don't want to go too far here by saying that. It's like, yeah, we learn from the best. You know what I mean? If you're talking about us, we learn from the best. And when I mean the best, I mean them. So yeah, it's almost like, yeah, they got the audacity, but you know, we're going to talk about the now, right? Because there's a lot of people committing crimes in the White House and the corporate and everywhere, right? There's crimes being committed everywhere. And some of those people will never change you, right? His folks got a long history ever since some would argue their existence that they've been committing crimes against everybody. But yeah, they stand up there and they'll talk about the criminal element. I don't really know how much people aren't able to be reformed. There's some people who will never be reformed, right? But as far as being born criminals, again, unless something happened to you mentally, yeah, I think that's a part of your circumstances. Somebody brought up King Von, who a lot of people praised as and you know, rapper in Chicago as being the king and this, that, and the other, but he was a serial killer. And you know, there are people who still praise him, and it sounds like his mom was kind of on board with the nonsense. So anyway, I'm gonna get into the comment section and see what you guys have to say. King Noble, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Kizzle was up. He said something is big is going to happen. They are just setting the stage for a big purge. Believe me or not, I'm not FBA, but I know this country just like one born and raised in Miami. I mean, you might be right? I think a lot of people feel the same way that you do. And Magneto, thank you so much for the donation. Love it. Appreciate you for that. Common Man, how you doing? One take only. What's going on with you? Bill, thank you so much. Love it. Appreciate you. Says, I'm not surprised. Are you? No, I'm not surprised. I mean, again, we know that they also need to fuel the prison system, but then with that, don't be a part of the problem to where they will be able to gaffle you up and throw you in those prisons, right? So it's personal responsibility that needs to be had. You know, you out there running around, like I said, I made a video on TikTok not too long ago, and I said you got to be a special delusional person, especially in Chicago, to be committing crimes to where it's over 50 people shot, 8 people killed. And y'all hear this man talking about he rolling through there if he can with the National Guards, and y'all still rolling around there doing that stuff. And the minute they get in there, people gonna get the set tripping like, why is Trump here? It's like, well, I mean, why are y'all doing the foolishness that you're doing, right? So no, Bill, I am not surprised. Jay Sanders, what's going on? She says, Black women raising criminals. This is what happens when you allow liberal policies to destroy Black families. Look at the Moynihan report. You need to look at the Moynihan report and really look at it, because a lot of times people quote it wrong. I know y'all heard Kevin Samuels talk about it, and a lot of y'all halfway listen to the Moynihan report. That's where the term benign neglect comes from. And yes, he examined the Black family, but he didn't do all of his due diligence. He did concede that, yes, due to circumstances and environmental issues and things like that, that's the way the Black family is the way it is, but he didn't give it a large conversation about the plantation, right? And again, I'm not going to sit up here and let nobody blame the Black woman for the dilapidation of the Black family, because that Black woman did not have that Black child by divine intervention. There was a Black man involved if the child is all Black. So what we need to start doing is saying, how can we come together and raise more conducive children? Not that we don't, because we do raise conducive children. Unfortunately, we hear more about the children who aren't acting right than we do the children that aren't behaving right. But again, I'm not going to sit up here and blame the Black man for everything, and I'm not going to blame the Black woman, and neither should you. And as I said, make sure that you read that Moynihan report all the way through before you come on here taking bits and pieces of something you heard somebody else repeat wrong. I'm just saying. Diane, he says, what about these people that he paroled that ran up on the White House in January? He says, would they be considered criminals? And he paroled them. Well, they look like him. Most of them did, right? They look like him. White folks, they wrote the laws to benefit them, right? When they doing stuff, high crimes and misdemeanors and all the felonies, it's all right. It's not a crime. They're patriots, right? But that's why we should get knowledge of what we're dealing with in this country, because we know these laws were never written for us. So your Black child ain't going to be able to scale through no walls nowhere and get a pardon from the president of the United States. Those laws benefit them, right? But of course, I know you knew that. William, what is you on up in here? It says they need Jesus. They hate earth, really. I don't know. I see your comments, and I'm not quite sure how to take it. I kind of low key want to block you, but I kind of want to see, you know, if you just, I'm gonna be nice. Lady Right More, how you doing? Says anything to get the spotlight off of himself. Laughable. Yeah, I mean, I agree with y'all. He's got a lot of nerve talking about people are criminals, right? Common Man says I was just gonna say that, and I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Yes, intersex is the term, and I listen. I'm just telling you that term, the old term, is not something it's politically correct per se. Brother, this is Donovan and the Alphabet Mafia about to get you. Well, it's considered to be a derogatory name because those people were born that way, right? They were born that's something that I don't want to call it the birth defect because I'm not knowledgeable enough to speak to it like that, but that they were born that way. So the term that they're using now is intersex, which means that they have both sex, right? So they're born that way. Lynette.
Okay, I would like to be referred to as other than man, greater than, but better than you. That's my new term.
Well, I'm just saying we could be funny all we want to, but those people.
No, I'm just saying. No, I didn't know that because, like I said, I haven't been to school in a while. But that was the term when I was growing up. That was used.
That's what I'm saying. I know that was a term too, but now they're. I'm trying to be a little bit more respectful of the people who were born that way. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? Easy. You say someone is saying someone born to be a criminal promotes a stigma. It is the kind of language that supports prejudice, reinforces fatalism, and justifies harsh policies, and it absolves them of the conditions that they created for Black people here in America. It just does, right? So I think Trump needs to educate himself, but we know that they're not interested in because if they educate themselves about how the Black community got the way it did, then they'd have to own the things that they did to us even way back on the plantation.
Right. And then, and I get everybody's outrage, everybody's getting upset at, Donald Trump. But see, what I get surprised at, Demetra, is as much as people have something to say in the comment about Donald Trump, and you're right, I don't have a problem with you saying how you feel and you're getting all into your emotions. But when Hillary Clinton called Black people super predators, where was the outrage? In general within our community. See what I'm saying?
There was outrage in our community.
Yeah, but I'm talking about not like as toward Trump. Every time Trump says something, it's a super outrage compared to when Hillary did it or Biden did it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of doesn't make sense to me.
That's not true. There was outrage when Hillary said it. Hillary said that in the 1990s. It just is, and we still talking about it.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is the Trump derangement syndrome. It's just so magnified now. Versus back then. It's okay to have an opinion, but it seems like every time Trump does something, it is like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's not. I mean, we're gonna move on.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's fair criticism, because he's sitting up there like most of his people do, and point the finger and absolve themselves of any of anything, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think the criticism is fair. Both of them, and neither one, Hillary, Trump, none of them love Black people, and we're foolish to think that they should. As I said, anybody thinking that Trump likes Black people and anything he's doing is for Black people, even the so-called crime in Washington, D.C. and Chicago, he ain't going there for Black people. He's going there because he's a megalomaniac. As I said, he suffers from hubris. And Black people are just inadvertently getting a benefit from him doing that. But he's not going in there because he loves and cares about Black people, because let's keep it a buck. His homies own, our investors in a lot of these private prisons, as I'm sure Hillary Clinton and Biden and Obama, they all got people, if not, maybe they're investing themselves, and they need bodies in those prisons. And those prison bodies come from these crackdowns, right? The National Guards and all that other stuff. Hey, keep them coming. And then it's, get up there and say they're born to be that way. They'll never change. So basically what he's dog whistling is, don't ever try to reform these people. We're going to keep them in prison forever, keeping those beds filled to 90% occupancy so that our investors get a return on their investment, and we good. That's what that's about. I mean, even his attorney, Janine Pirro, she said, hey, as 14 years old, we charging them as an adult. So you get them as babies, and I'm not saying their actions aren't are excusable. You get them as young as possible, lock them up forever. Shoot, we always had those beds filled. Hey, Michelle. Tyrone, how you doing? Says Kamala Harris should hire NOI for security. I mean, she could, right? If they want to do that. I had no knowledge of that. African Native. Let me skip down a little bit so I can catch up. Philip, how you doing? Says no one cares what a fool thinks or says. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of people listening to fools and regurgitating the talking points of fools. Derek, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Easy says Trump comments is ideological bias, stereotyping, and questionable assumptions about human nature. Yeah, because he's racist, right? He's saying things that most racists say. They're born bad. Says the descendants that ran into the slave shacks and and took from those our ancestor slave women what they wasn't trying to give, right? Says those people. So it says those people who whipped our ancestors on the back for not picking 300 pounds of cotton a day. Black Wolf, how you doing? It says, no, we are all born sinners according to Christianity. If that's your belief system, that is true, right? Common Man, he says, that's a matter of opinion. I don't see President Trump as a criminal. Well, he is technically a criminal because he was convicted, right? That makes you a criminal. This ain't my words. This ain't my words. I'm dealing with the facts as we have, okay? I know that, for those, I'm not saying this about you, Common Man, but those of you guys who love Trump or whatever, want to kind of sanitize it. But if you have been convicted of a crime, that makes you what? See, that's what we call deductive reasoning.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you've been pardoned, if you've been pardoned for that crime, are you still a criminal?
Yeah. You're still a criminal, right? Now, maybe you're not after the pardon, but you were once a criminal, right? So I don't know the logistics of what it is afterwards, but if you were impeached twice, are you still impeached? Yeah, I'm just saying. FM, how you doing? Says they have drugged the most people in history worldwide. Renee, how you doing? Says I'm exhausted with Trump and his ignorant words. He could suck the sunshine out the sun. Damn, it looks like he already did. As orange as he is, right? Derek says he sounds like Joe Biden when he wrote a crime bill. Yeah, what you're proving the point. They are all the same. There's nobody in that White House that was there since the days of George Washington that is more righteous than another, even Obama, because Obama kicked Black Americans in the tailbone and said, yeah, I did it because I didn't want to make white folks mad, right? So, yeah, they none of them good when it comes to us. Akita, I think I said that right. How you doing? It says, whatever happened to the leaders like Malcolm, Khalid, Matuma, because you dark-skinned folks cannot represent me?
What's his idea of dark-skinned folks? Martin Luther King was dark. Some of the people...
Malcolm X wasn't dark-skinned, right? I don't even know what that comment is about, so I'm not even going to try to decipher it. Anyway, moving on down. Albie Chill, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Who else haven't I seen? Because I really must skip to the bottom so that I could catch up. Cynthia Haynes just says, having no economics and fathers in a poor environment in neighborhoods, especially in Black, broken, poverty-stricken communities with low or no resources at all, brings on trauma with heavy crime wave. You said a mouthful, sister. Yes, indeed. Jay, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you. Says, let's be honest. A lot of men left. Start new. Oh, Lord, I ain't going to go there. Common Man says, but it was a Black man that she chose at Demetria. Okay, whose fault is it? Listen, if she chose Kermit the damn frog, okay, if she had a baby with Kermit the frog and he left and he wasn't no good, yeah, that was partially her fault, but you can't create a life and not stick around for it, okay? So let's take the Black man out of it. Let's put a tree stump in place and say a tree stump procreated with this Black woman. That tree stump is partially responsible for the creation of a baby. And I don't know, they tree stump, they should be partially responsible. See, I'm not about to be sitting up here with y'all talking about we blaming a Black woman for the dilapidation of the Black community when the Black community was never really intact all the way from the plantation, right? We was intact during the Black Wall Street, but of course, Donald Trump and them ancestors came and made sure we didn't have no more of those. But to keep blaming the Black woman is very exhausting and it's boring. It's boring at this point. Y'all don't have no more talking points other than blaming Black women for all the ills of the community. Like I said yesterday, the other day, and I don't mean to be so vulgar, but where's your balls?
And vice versa. Yeah, and vice versa.
Well, I'm just saying. I said that. I'm not.
Well, no. Well, what I'm saying, and I'm trying to get everybody to understand is we got to get it together as a people, period. Black, white, Well, we're both at fault if you want to see it. So, we're saying this, you guys are saying that. We got to get it together as a people. At the end of the day, only black people are going to save black people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, Magnet. I agree. Like I said, I don't even like to be on all of that, but it's boring at this point. Okay, the black woman, she's responsible for every goddamn thing. But then yet some same people say she ain't got no power. Okay, so which is it? Which is it? I'm just asking. Abigail, how you doing? Says some were born and some were made by those born to be diabolical worldwide. I see what you did there. Brother Ray says, the chat is getting spicy. Yeah. Let's see who else haven't I seen. Mr. South Carolina, how you doing? Says Trump is a Wizard of Oz. To some people, is going to take a total effect to reveal him. If a total gonna have to snatch back the curtain, huh? Well, a lot of us already know most of all those politicians are the man behind the curtain, right? Well, they're the eyes, and then there's a man behind the curtain, right? That's pulling the strings. So that's all of them. Dear self, he says, should someone ask him, well, that explains your wealthy friends being actual deviants. And I don't dislike Trump, but sometimes he's too much, right? Had a whole homie that allegedly took his life because he was flying the other homies out with money to do some things allegedly with kids. Brother Reggie says, please refer to me as half man, half amazing. Okay, AI. A comment says, when I was born, they were called twins in the South. Okay, so yeah, but the other term is considered to be derogatory, if you will. William, who won't listen to Obama? I'm not even sure who you're talking about. Philip says, did you see the Aurora, Colorado officer video murder of another black man talking about criminals with a badge? I have not seen that video. Is it something that took place recently? Mike Lewis, how are you doing? Chocolate Bunny, what's going on with you? He says, I agree with him. Okay, your average logical thinker, where have you been? Says Trump, just saying what others want to say. Yeah, he's definitely, Trump doesn't bite his tongue, right? Let's see. Film Soul, how you doing? Says, but voted for racist Biden and Clinton after they talk so bad about the blacks. And well, they always talk bad about the blacks. All of them do. All of them talk bad about the blacks. Even LBJ, who, made the Great Society, and he included black people, and he's, signed civil rights acts into law. He didn't like black people either. He had, called us a couple of N-words and all. None of them like black people. Why are we confused about that? None of them like black people. Case in point, if one of them like black people, we've gotten our reparations, we've got hate crime bills. We wouldn't be in the condition that we're in now. If somebody in that White House like black people, for those of y'all who think that Kamala was going to go to the White House and like black people, she was not. Just saying. I'm just going down.
AB Chill at the very bottom says from yesterday, Trump told Kamala, I'm not going to pay for secret services that only protect you. No.
Yeah, she'll be all right regardless of who do it. Kamala's got money. Gavin Newsom say he's put his foot in the bill, so she gonna be better. She gonna be better off than me. She won't even be able to walk to the trash can without somebody watching her six. So, hello there. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen? And I promise I'm gonna catch up. Good vibes only. He says, why are people surprised? And how you doing, by the way? Why are people surprised about what comes out of them people's mouth? I ain't gonna say what you said. All right. Who else haven't I seen? Daryl, he says, how you doing? Says, you mad at Trump, but not the killers in the neighborhood. Who mad at Trump and not the killers in the neighborhood? I know you ain't talking about me. I never said that. I'm saying, I'm not like a lot of people. Who said that? Michael Jackson. I'm not like a lot of other guys, in Thriller. I'm not like a lot of people who just let everybody else think for me. I'm able to have a few conversations all at the same time. I think it's fair to say that, yes, the killers, in the community, they need to be dealt with. But I also think that you can say that Trump is dog whistling racism because he won't give it a full conversation as to how people are born to be criminals, right? He needs to have that full conversation. But of course, he knows he could just say stuff like that and people glom on and say, well, he's right. And he's not right. Right? Now, the elements that are going on in the inner city or whatever the case is, yeah, there's reasons why there's going on. I'm not saying it's right, but then they also got to own their hand in it. But see, y'all are all right with people just saying stuff and just going along with half-baked ideas and talking points. Timothy, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says the pardon doesn't erase the crime, just the punishment. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to speak over my head. Let's see who else is on here. Magneto says if your pardon does any of it show up, if you get background checked, that's a good question. I don't know. Saul Glow, how you doing? Says something big about to go down in Chicago with the National Guard. Trump just released some of the Epstein files, the distraction to move them in. So I haven't seen anything about that yet. Billy Pippin, how you doing? You says category estimated annual loss, annually Indian original scam. I don't even know what you're talking about. I think you know what you're talking about. African Native says one coin, two faces party, vote the flip side of the coin or no side of that coin, right? Common Man Malcolm was a criminal, I get it. I get what you're saying. I mean, there's nobody perfect, but Malcolm was also able to have conversations that made sense. So what we never gonna do, and I know you ain't doing it. I just want to be clear. What we're never gonna do is compare Malcolm X to Donald Trump. There's no comparison. Okay.
And you guys, look at it politically. Chicago and Illinois is a Democratic fortress. If Trump could come in there and break that fortress, it is going to be a game changer for Republicans.
Well, I mean, it's actually a game changer for the Democrats. It's a black eye to the Democrats if Trump goes in there and gets rid of the crime, because it's not that we know that they can't do it. They don't want to do it because everybody is benefiting. And let's keep it a buck. Trump don't want to do it either. I think Trump is really going in there on the, to see how many people he can throw into these prisons. Trump ain't interested in solving crime either, right? Why didn't he do it his first term if he was so interested in solving the crime problem? Again, Trump didn't really utter too much of a word until that white boy got jumped on. That's when he went, all in. Let's keep it a buck. So, yeah. Yeah,
well, I'm talking like politically. If they could break and turn Chicago red, or even the state of Illinois red, that's a super fortress. That state hasn't been red, I don't know, probably over 100 years. So if they could go in there and break that politically, it's going to be a game changer.
And somebody, and I don't remember who it was at this point, it was a while back, somebody made a good point talking about the original gangsters of Chicago. If you know, right?
John Kennedy won election because of the votes in Chicago and the stuffed ballot boxes from Chicago.
Right. So, yeah. Michelle, he says Trump sending the National Guard to D.C. and Chicago is a distraction for something bigger than he has planned. Both sides use black folks as a distraction and for their benefit. Example, abortion, Tuskegee experiment. Yeah, all of that. But, we got to be aware and stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe, as they say, right? Like, really pay attention to what's going on. I think we can have several conversations at the same time. But I'm not into being disingenuous. As I said, if you watched the earlier podcast that Donovan and I did, I don't belong to a team. And I'll actually put that snippet up later. But I don't belong to the team of the Democrat, the Republican, or all these other teams that have people fighting, right? But yeah, Jay Sanders says black women control the power over who is born and who is not born. Did she have that baby by herself? Does she have the power to say, I'm pregnant, and just be pregnant? Come on now. But I don't want to do the tango mentally over foolishness, respectfully. Common Man says, as a man, I never chose a bad black women, nor would I get one pregnant, Demetria. If I could do that, why can't she? Hey, Ricky, how you doing? Says, nope, I'm all over the city. Yes, I know you are in Chicago from Chicago. Says, And I am seeing, and all I'm seeing is black and brown people acting a plum fool in everybody's community. I literally just saw some Hispanic trying to break into, an ATM with a sledgehammer in an alley. Yesterday, a black woman was downtown loudly threatening a young black girl working security in a hostel till she was literally in tears. All of the flash mobbing trans women beating up Asians in the beauty supply stores and stealing brightly colored fake wigs. Your comment cut off. Woo, Ricky, you know what? I take your word for it, as I know you are boots on the ground there in Chicago. But how you doing? Original Skywalker, how you doing? Said, this is crazy. Black folks just made this whole damn National Guard crap about black folks when all of my immigrants released in our states. Y'all crazy. I don't know who this y'all is. I didn't make nothing about nothing. But we know why they're sending those National Guards into the inner cities, right? Yeah, it's about the immigrants or whatever, but you hardly even hear anything about the immigrants anymore. You hardly hear anything about it. And largely what I see is a lot of, and my friend here, Ricky, is one of them, a lot of people who look like us on the internet talking about, thank you, Trump, for coming in here because crime is bad, right? So, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. Anyway, let's see. And Nubian Cutie, how you doing? Glenn, what's going on with you? Says, thanks for sharing this topic. I appreciate it a lot. And we appreciate you too. Emmett, how you doing? Says, thank the people that sat on the couch. Well, that was their right to do that, right? A lot of people sat on the couch because they didn't have nothing to get off the couch and vote for, right? So give people something to vote for. Again, that's that team mentality. Either you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. And if you didn't vote for the Republican, then you voted for the Democrats, and vice versa. Some people don't want to be on a team. Some people like, ain't nothing for me to get off the couch for. And that could be true as well. So we got to stop dealing in absolutes. Either you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. What if I ain't neither? Because I'm neither. Right? I'm just saying. But how you doing? Jay, how you doing? Says, I think Trump is touching the head like Elton. He is on the spectrum. Alex, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Chocolate Bunny says, at least with Trump, we get to write our own history. Our identity is being restored, and us indigenous and melanated Americans have a chance to get our community together before, he says, 2058. I agree with that. I like that narrative, right? We're now understanding that we need knowledge of self and we need to do for self, stop depending on the government. They owe us a debt that will be paid, right? But you're right. Now we're having these conversations about, we do need to segregate, don't we? Because we was told to do that a long time ago. And here we are, want to kumbaya with people who ain't trying to kumbaya with us. Freddie is back. Fred is back, rather. How you doing? Says, there's a criminal culture in Chicago, legacy of gangsters, 20s and 30s. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a criminal element everywhere, right? And it'd be nice if the politicians who are elected to go on there and do what they're supposed to do and just take care of that, right? If they can take care of immigrants, feed them, clothe them, give them money and all kind of stuff, make sure they're good, then they could do that for the neighborhoods, right? They just don't want to.
Yeah. Could you repeat again that I saw your clip on the African Diaspora News Channel app. It was a 5-minute clip about Al Sharpton caught on hot mic, I guess the Breakfast Club, and he was explaining why the Democrats are losing voters and stuff.
Oh, so that wasn't Al Sharpton, was Roland Martin. It wasn't hot mic.
Oh, Roland Martin, right. I'm sorry, we're Roland Martin. You're right.
Yeah, it wasn't a hot mic. It was actually Ricky Smiley's show about a couple weeks back, and he was basically saying Republicans, Trump, does what he said he's going to do for his base, but the Democrats do not, right? And we know they don't, which is why they're losing, especially their most loyal group of voters, which is Black people. Kevin, how you doing? Absolutely. No reparations, no vote.
So you're basically saying the difference between Republicans in general, when they got their representatives, they do their agenda, and the Democrats basically, they do other things.
Yeah. I would say that's for the most part, right? But then if you look at a lot of the stuff that Trump is doing, not all, but a lot of it, then one would say that, some of the stuff is kind of anti a lot of things, anti-Black, anti you fill in the blank. So one would also argue, if you following the breadcrumbs, that a lot of his people are anti as well. I don't know. Education is key. How you doing? It says white people are the demons from the movie Center. So you know what? Gary, how you doing? Says Black folks need to, he said Black folks to focus on Black folks too focused on who's racist instead of focusing on what the Black community own interests should be. Totally. We should be able to do both, right? You should know your enemy and you should be able to focus on what you need as a community. So I agree. Brandon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sherry, how are you? Going to the bottom, Brother Reddy says them so-called Epstein files ain't ever coming out. You come on now. Me and you both know they not, right? Sharon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Who else? West Avenue, how you doing? Says we are literally talking about a devil with over 25 felonies. Jesse, did I say hello to you? If not, hello. Davey, how you doing? Says, nah, Malcolm X was a hustler before he changed his life. Yeah, he was. But, you know, Malcolm X also became upstanding, right? Has Trump become upstanding? So I'm saying we're not going to draw a correlation between Trump and Malcolm X. And if you're doing that, I think you really should rearrange your understanding of who Malcolm X actually was. That's all I'm saying. Buckhorse.
Yeah, you know, but isn't that true in a lot of the Black churches? Most of your pastors and stuff, very rare are the pastors that are pastors come from Ivy League schools and, you know, great up, and they left all their riches to follow God. Where do most of the Black pastors, in my experience, have come from? Is they were wayward in their younger years, and then they have their testimony, and here they are using that good mouthpiece to once again fleece the sheep.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of I don't know how many, but yeah, there's many Black pastors who used to be in the life, but we don't want to ever absolve the white pastors, you know, and the foolishness that they have going on, right? Forgive me for I have sinned. And some of y'all never get that one. You're just too young. Easy says Chicago going.
Tammy Faye.
Yeah, you know, Jimmy Baker. What's that name? Jimmy Baker, Tammy Faye Baker, right? They stood up together as he was getting his little Peter around the church and all, just a lot of whole just chicanery. He says Chicago going, Trump not a guarantee of change for Black people. Nah, Trump is not trying to change anything for Black people, right? And another good thing, bad thing, is, you know, him getting rid of all this history and stuff and from the schools and the museums is because we should never be relying on those things to teach us who we are anyway. Don't know Asian, Mexican, Jew, any of those people. They don't go to a museum and learn who they are. Now you're going to see things about yourself, right? But you don't go depending on that to teach you who you are. We should be learning about who we are. If we never stepped into a museum, we should always know who we are, have knowledge of self, right? That should come from us. So Trump presidency is definitely waking us up. Even though some things are adverse that are going on from that White House, but Black people are getting an awakening that we've been told to be getting it a long time ago, and we're getting it now, you know. C Joe, how you doing? Says there's other races included, but they all weren't born. I got you. Easy says Chicago. Okay, I read that one already. Okay. YOLO, how you doing? He said, hey, loves, back at you. Albie Chill says, no one is perfect. We will never achieve solutions if we're only looking for problems and flaws. Yeah, we got to start being solution oriented. Totally agree. Renz, how you doing? Stanley, what's going on? Says, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. I receive it. Black Wolf says, aren't they becoming a little Trump deranged? Who? Yes, I'm an owl. My feet do fit on limbs today. Who is becoming Trump deranged, if you don't mind me asking? Kevin says they're going to try to replace red, because most of the people don't really care because he's giving all the money to the migrants. So they're talking about, what's his face? Brandon Johnson. Yes, common man, Al Capone. If you know, you know. So Glory says, imagine what the Black numbers would be today without the mass gang killings over the past 50 years. Yep. Mad Dog, how you doing? Says Al Capone, the greatest Chicago gangster. Absolutely. Nubian Cutie says, I don't care about those files, but some people do. Stop calling people names, big man. Release those files. You want to call people names. LOL. Yeah. You know they're not going to release those files.
Can I say this, though? You know, I don't know. And we all come from a similar upbringing to a point. Some of us, a little bit different. But I was always taught this. It ain't what they call you. It's what you answer to. Have you ever heard that term, Demetra? Yes. It ain't what they call you. It's what you answer to.
Yes. Oh yeah, I've heard that. Trust me, I know all about that. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Buckhorse says, I'm gonna spend some money. Okay, I heard that. Thank you, Mike, for asking everybody to hit the like button. Allie, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Skipping down just a little bit so I could kind of get a little bit relevant with the comments. Echo, how you doing? Says some quote unquote parents are raised their kids to be criminals. Trump was right when he said they were born to be criminals. The parents need to take accountability sometimes on how the child is raised. So yeah, nobody's technically born, but raised absolutely. You can be raised to be that. So I totally agree with you on that part. Allie says delineation all day. Absolutely. Tracy says I sat on the couch and what? What you gonna do, right? Who gonna check me, boo? Bakari, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Who else haven't I seen? I'm just going down. Beverly White, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Dear self, he says only educated people use the spectrum as an insult when most autistic people run our companies and program all of our IT. You're absolutely right. They even said that Elon Musk is on the spectrum. You can do what you want to do with that. Common Man says, I don't know about the crime in the city. I live in the boonies now, have been for almost 20 years. Dimitri, never moving back to the city. I like the peace I have. I'm with you on that one. And there's nobody saying you got to move back to that. I wouldn't, you know.
And let me ask you guys a question in the chat. Even if you don't, you don't like Donald Trump, fine. I don't like Democrats, fine. Where is what it is. My question to you is, the Second Amendment was basically written so that you can protect yourself against the government. Donald Trump is doing what he's doing. If you are not a Second Amendment advocate or somebody that has something that you can defend yourself against your government, there's nothing you can do about it. And that is part of the problem. Now you've got this authoritarian type person, this tyrant in the White House running roughshod, and you have no way of pushing back against it. Not saying that it's going to take that, but what I am saying is that was the whole purpose of having the Second Amendment, was to protect yourself against your government. How are you going to do that if you're unarmed?
You're going to pray about it. Mike, it says, Dimitri, did you hear about Cynthia Erivo possibly playing Shaka? I think it should be someone like Kiki Wyatt, Shanice Wilson, Jennifer Hudson, Kelly Price, or Vesta Williams, if she's still with us. Yeah, I agree with you. I actually just saw that. Hey, nephew, let me call you right back. Oh, he hung up. Okay. I just saw that. And yeah, I wouldn't be interested in seeing Cynthia Erivo. She's like a ball cat rat. That was probably me, but I wouldn't be interested in seeing her play Shaka Khan. That don't even make any sense. But yeah,
she looks nothing like Shaka Khan.
Yeah, I mean, but why would they think we'd be interested in seeing that? Her of all people was like, no, I don't want to see that. I love Shaka Khan, and I just couldn't see Cynthia Erivo. I think because maybe they keep casting her because she can sing. I don't know, but I don't even get the connection between Cynthia Erivo and Shaka Khan. I wouldn't be interested in seeing it, but I did hear about it. It's weird. But, oftentimes we ain't casting those people. Y'all know who casting them people. Bakari says Trump making himself look guilty by not releasing those files, but let's not act like his daddy wasn't a Nazi. They believe in a different ideology. You ain't lying, and we gonna keep it at that, right? Comment and Pop, I seen that comment you made. Behave. And how you doing anyway? Common Man says, I understand deed. Okay. Mission Visions, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Brother Reddy says a lot of these black and white pastors still in the life. Come on now. I was at I ain't gonna say his name, but one time I was sitting, waiting, just at like a mall type of situation. I'm just sitting, and a very well-known pastor. I could see, valet parked his G-Wagon. He's clean as a board of health. He gets out the G-Wagon, hands a person his keys, and he goes into the restaurant by himself. I said, I'll be damned. I know what that is. Now, I can't say for sure, but I doubt he was going into that restaurant having dinner by himself. And he's a very married man, by the way. Anita, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Who else? Leon, how you doing? So Jimmy Swagger, yeah, he was a mess, wasn't he, up there?
Whatever happened to my man Price's son and stuff like that? Because I remember in the 70s, what's his name? Not Vincent Price, but Pastor Price would come on. Yeah, Frederick Price would come on TV, and if you didn't go to church that day, you're sitting there, your mom and them would be watching him on TV and stuff.
Deliverance.
Yes.
Deliverance. Yes, he's gone on to glory now. But I think his son took over the church. But then I remember not too long ago, the son was standing up there with his wife, talking about, forgive me for I have sinned a lot with different women that wasn't my wife. Something like that. Jersey Rick, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Going to the bottom as I see that we are running out of time. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Yeah, Magnetar says 2A supporter. Okay, got you. Bakari says some Negroes hate the Second Amendment. Yeah, and some I can understand why. The Second Amendment is going on in a lot of these cities. It says user, and I'm gonna just put this up here because I don't know what your name is. I might know who you are, but YouTube has done some things. It says, so are Black people just supposed to ignore the facts of the criminal element in their neighborhoods because Trump is a criminal? How are you ever supposed to change our neighborhoods? I don't know if y'all think I'm saying that. I'm not saying that. I've never said that. I don't have a problem necessarily with Trump trying to solve the problem. As I said, whatever his plan is, Black people are inadvertently benefiting from that. I think Black people should be able to walk down the street without having to duck bullets, right? I think babies should be able to play outside without having to worry about if that's their last bike ride or whatever it is, right? So I'm not mad at that. Like I said, it's an indictment on the Democrats that they would not solve the crime issues, and they could have. They just didn't want to, right?
And also the HUD issue that's going on right now with the millions of illegals that are occupying it, putting Americans first. Look at all these mothers, especially in the Black community, the Black men and women that are homeless that can't get it. But I'm talking about the families first, the women with the children. These women are living in their cars and their vans and stuff. Inadvertently, even though you don't like what Trump is doing, who is going to benefit from that is going to be Americans first in need. And in this system, Blacks are at the bottom of the system. That's just the facts. Now this housing is going to be made available for those women and children who need housing, Americans first. So inadvertently, regardless if you like this man or not, we are benefiting from a little of the things that he's solving that the Democrats won't solve at all.
Absolutely. That was somebody I was thinking about that looks like Shaka Khan, and it just slipped my mind. Is it SZA? Does SZA look like Shaka Khan? I think she does. I could be wrong.
Ice Spice.
No, sorry.
And y'all call her Shaka. See, I call her Yvette. That's where her mama name. I call her Yvette. That's where her name is Yvette.
Yvette Stevens, huh? Name was Shaka Khan. Yeah, Jennifer Hudson looks like Shaka, but I think we kind of
Nicki Minaj.
Yes. Sans the BBL, right? I think we're kind of tired of seeing Jennifer. I could be wrong. I'm not saying. Yeah, I know that was me, and I called Cynthia Erivo a bald cat rat because that's what she looks like, a mixture of a bald cat and rat. I don't like it. It looks weird. It looks demonic, right? I'm not saying anything about a bald head. There's women that rock bald heads or whatever the case is, but she just looks, with them long fingernails and stuff, and she's got no eyebrows and no hair, and she's like shiny bald, and she's just like Jack Skellington. It just looks demonic, like she's gonna climb out from under the bed and right. So I'm creeped out by it. She looked good before she doing what she's doing now. I don't know. Forgive me. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen on here before we leave? Big Rich, how you doing? Says we wouldn't have this problem if they did not take out a whole generation with the crack epidemic. See, they don't want to talk about that, huh? Trump ain't talking about, the crack that was dropped off in the community when we ain't had no boats, no planes, no none of that, right? And it just crack just grew out the concrete. And, there's a crack epidemic. They know what happened with that. But see, they don't want to give that a full conversation because people are just born criminals. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, there's no such thing as a crack addicted baby. I don't want to argue about it right now. Just look it up. Okay. It wasn't a thing. It was term or classification that was made out of racism and ignorance. Look it up.
So you're basically saying there's no such thing as a somebody who's born a welfare queen.
No, there's not. Timothy says, do we have a criminal element? Yes, but let's be honest, all of America is a crime zone because of the ideology. You will not get no arguments from me. Not one. Sherry says the men and women were riding on Chicago trains in the dead of winter last year while the illegals were living in homes and luxury apartments. Yeah, they were homeless. You're absolutely right. Homeless on those trains. And yes, Brandon Johnson with his faux honk, it was all right with making sure the illegals were taken care of.
Same thing with what's his name in New York, putting up in luxurious hotels and stuff while Americans and veterans were sleeping on the streets. Very sad.
Yeah. I can see Nikki. Yeah, Nikki, they had to do some computer generated stuff on her booty. Allie says the Democrats hated us most because they made sure we became the permanent underclass, all by design. Meerkat, yeah, I can see that. It has to be bald though, Fred. It has to be bald. Mad Dog says I'd rather see Nicki Minaj play Shaka Khan than Cynthia. I don't see the Cynthia at all. I don't see it. Tiff, how you doing? Says Nicki Minaj looks like Shaka Khan. Yep, she does. She really does. Kelly says she does look like that. But of course, she said, where's the rats? Allie says she looks satanic. Or she said, I don't know. It looks weird. I don't know what's going on with Cynthia, but maybe, I don't know. Y'all always hear about these rituals that they doing up in Hollywood. Maybe she's in smack dab in the middle of a ritual. Because I'm sorry. That just, I don't know. I don't want to be mean, but every time I see her, I shiver a little bit. Because it's like, what are you doing, lady? You know, but maybe them folks like shave it all off, right? And walk around looking like Nosferatu, the black version. Tracy says Cynthia is anti-black. To hell with her. Yeah, she has been anti-black. She apologized, but yeah, she is anti-black. MC Fact says no to Revo doing Shaka in the movie. FBA should play Khan. I totally agree with you. I totally 1000% agree. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Who haven't I seen? Trying to get out of here. Donovan, you got anything else to say before we leave?
I would just say again, remind you guys to, if you guys want some great information, download the African Diaspora News Channel app. Please get more than one source of information when you're looking stuff up. If you watched our podcast earlier, it took Demetra less than 30 seconds to look at some information that I had put out there that I just named off the top of my head. Yeah, Cynthia revealed she looks like a black olive oil. Yeah, she does. But again, you know, you guys.
Wait. I misread it because I thought he said she looked like a black olive.
Oh man. And you know, and I do want to say this. Logic first. Please do not give in to your emotions before anything. That's the one thing, and the one thing that the white man knows about black people. You get into our emotions and you give us symbolism, and we forget all our senses and what we are really there to do. So again, please continue to pay attention to what is going on. Like a lot of you guys have said, there's an agenda going on. It just hasn't revealed itself just yet.
Yeah, I can see Megan Thee Stallion. I can actually see Megan Thee Stallion playing Pam Grier. They look a lot alike, right? Shaped and everything, you know, because Pam Grier was a bad mofo, man. She had many and many rethinking the meaning of life, right? So yeah, I can see Meg doing that. Yeah, and Nikki is not FBA per se. She's Trinidadian or something like that, I think. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I totally agree. It should be somebody who is Black American because Cynthia, I don't get it. They must just got money to burn. They want to tank Hollywood because who gonna go see that? And it's Shaka. I know Shaka be tell me something good. Did she sign off on it? I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't.
Yeah, well, it's like you don't have to sign off if it's an unauthorized biography. Look at the Salt and Pepper biopic. And Jennifer Hudson played Aretha Franklin, and that didn't do really, really good as well. So
it didn't do well because Cynthia also played Aretha Franklin, right? And it's like, what did y'all? Huh? So I don't know. Maybe Cynthia. I didn't mean to do that. That's not where I was going with that. I don't know. Maybe I can't call it. She getting all these roles like our, Black American greats, and she's portraying these. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like when they was gonna have Julia Roberts playing Harriet Tubman or something stupid. I don't know.
Well, again, those rituals in Hollywood, this is real. What do you call that? The Illuminati's real. Illuminati's real.
Could be. You crazy. Talk about Cynthia. Wait a minute. Cynthia, yeah, she could play Grace Jones. She could. She really could. Pull up.
But when they get to the part of the biopic of Grace Jones and she's doing the boomerang scene about the cat, yeah. What do you mean? He's gay. He's gay. He's gay.
Yeah, Strong J. Pull up to the bumper, baby. Or to my bumper. I ain't gonna repeat the rest because it's nasty. Let's see here. Bree, how you doing? Says no, they want these Africans to be the new FBAs. You might be on to something. Poppy said Aretha Franklin said she wanted Jennifer Hudson. She sure did before she died, and somehow they came up with Cynthia Erivo. Thank you, Cynthia. Speaking of Cynthia, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you. Says I receive calls from victims hearing stories concerning Black on Black crime within our communities, and it's disturbing, but they're supporting Trump on tackling crime. Now it's time to put Americans first. Yeah, I hate that it's Trump that's doing it. I wish it was the people that we elected that's doing it, but we need to not hear about 50 plus people being shot and 8 people being murdered, right? We need to hear where there's no crime like that, right? It's always going to be crime, but to where people are just running around shooting, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. So.
Yeah, and real quick, if you guys get a chance, go to my YouTube channel. I did a thing yesterday about immigration in your neighborhood. And we're having a big problem here with MS-13. And this is what the Democrats have put into the community, and we're fighting it right now. So again, if you're a bleeding Christian liberal, whatever, it's all good and great in theory, but we have to now use resources to get these people out of the neighborhood and the destruction that they're doing. So just check that out and be cognizant of what's going on.
I think if anybody should play me in a movie, it should be Halle Berry. I heard a lot that we look a lot alike. I'm just playing. No, I actually have heard, I kid you not, if I had just a dime for every time somebody told me I look like Nina Simone or Bahamadia, I'd be rich. I've heard that, right? So I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't.
I was gonna get the young girl that played Celie to play you. The young Celie in the color purple.
I was gonna say your mama, but then I like your mama. Okay, I love your mom. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Not y'all laughing at Halle Berry's supposed to be playing. Don't we look alike? I just want you to make me feel good. That was my monster depiction of Halle Berry. This make me feel good.
Well, you know what? Diane Carroll. I could see that.
Yes.
Since you love Claudine so much. Yeah, Diane Carroll. I could see that a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, I love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Peace. Oh, no, you didn't. Bye.